Hey, what is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're doing something kind of exciting. I went to an auction this weekend and I got a big lot of beekeeping boxes and stuff. Now, I don't know exactly what is inside the lot because it was in a container that was wrapped up. So we are on our way with the entire family. Kinley's hanging out. I look like a little boy with all the sunlight and my hat on backwards. Kinley's hanging out with me. Shelby's driving the car like a maniac.
What?
There's Mr. Creed. Creed! Say hello. Okay, Creed's not enthusiastic about being on camera. Of course, anytime you go to town, you got to get some stuff done. So we're going to get a few things, but we are going to load up the bee supplies and get them back home, get them offloaded, and then we'll go through it together. And see what we got. See if we got ourselves a good buy or if we wasted our money. Pretty sure no matter what, we did good on it. But we'll talk about it once we get her all loaded up and back home. All right, guys, welcome back. We have got our lot offloaded. One of the cool things about going into auctions, sometimes there's just surprises in whatever you get. It's kind of the fun in it. Sometimes you pay too much. Sometimes you get surprised by how little you pay. I paid $135 for this lot. So $135, that included the bidding. The bidding only went up to like $1.25, so you got your taxes, fees, whatever. Added another 10 bucks on. So we aim to pay $125 for this lot based off of my bee knowledge, but not knowing what was necessarily inside because it was all wrapped up with plastic and you could just kind of look in a little bit. So let's go through it really quick and let's see how we did as I'm pulling this stuff out. You guys feel free to comment if you think it's a good box, bad box, and then overall if you think that the entire lot was worth $125, not including the cool little tote carrying thing, which I'm sure we'll put that thing to use somewhere. Let's figure it out. So it looks like a top. Looks like a cover. Yeah, it's probably a cover. There's no bottom outlet, so that's not going to be a bottom board. Decent paint, well put together. A little bit of water weathering on this inside material, but overall very sturdy, good shape. So another lid here, it looks like it's got a pretty good crack all the way through it, which is very fixable, guys. We could put a number of products in there to fix that. Other than that, pretty good looking paint, not too weathered on the inside, pretty good shape. So another good one. So this one's got some age to it. This is some pretty old looking wood. It's some weathered paint. So this is one where we'll push the nails back in, we'll sand it down and give it a new coat of paint and see how it does. As far as the wood material, the wood is in pretty good shape. It is weathered and old, salvageable, older, but I think that's a working top. Okay, check this one out. This one is actually really cool. This is a top. It's in pretty good shape. It has metal on it, but if you guys can tell, that metal is actually the printing of newspaper printing. So it's the old metal. It's like the first draft of what they wanted, and then they'd run the paper over it. That's really cool. It's got to be pretty old. So it's the Valley Herald, Wednesday, January 3rd, 1979. So I guess it's not that old of a product, old-ish, 30-some years old. Okay, so here's another box in pretty good shape, a little old, a little weathered. Sturdy though, it's not falling apart. A little bit of sand job, a little fresh paint, that should hold up for years. All right, so another hive top. This one's got some cracks in it. It's got some nails coming up. The wood looks pretty good. Definitely salvageable. Little sand, little paint. This one's gonna take some probably caulking or something to fill in those joints safely. But in good shape, not warped. Good shape on that one. Okay, so here's another hive top, guys. Oh, this one has a metal on it. That's cool. Anytime you can get them with metal, a little metal cover, they just hold up that much longer. So same with this thing, maybe a little bit of sanding, some fresh paint on the wood. And that looks to be in some pretty good shape still. Okay, so here's a bee box. You can see the handle on the sides. It's got one little crack in the bottom, it looks like. Got some bee remnants on the inside, needs to get cleaned out. Overall, that's a good box, so we'll wind up sanding it and painting it. Okay, so far, guys, it's seven lids. We've got 7 beehive tops to cover up our hives, so potentially we have 7 hives in here. You can see a little bit different of a design here, kind of that same little handle, but then this one has a little routed out area. Little weathered, needs to be cleaned up, needs to be sanded. Definitely older on this one. Sand and paint should be good as new. Okay, this one is a horrible mustard color. Kind of got those same little side handles, no routed outside. Pretty good shape. You know, all the lips are not busted up on these from prying on them for years. This has a little bit of bee remnants in it as well, so it needs to get cleaned up a little bit. Probably sanding, fresh coat of paint. It looks like it's got a couple of nails that need to get pounded in. Old, definitely older, but that'll turn back to new. Okay, here's some white ones. It looks a little different than the rest. These actually have a little metal insert you can see here that the frames actually sit in. Those are pretty cool. I've never used any hives like those. Might be a pain in the butt to clean that area out, but the frames are going to sit in there nicely. So this should be a pretty good little hive. Little paint, little sanding, good as new. Here it looks like the other half of that one, exact same configuration, has the same metal, so those two are obviously a set. Both pretty good. That wood on the inside actually looks fairly new. These weren't that old of a box, so those two should make one great hive. All right, here's another one. Nice little green color. Looks like pine wood on the inside. Not too beaten up. This one's got something happening down here. A rodent might have eaten away at it on the inside there. It should still seal pretty good, it looks like. It just is going to have a bit of a little extra bee space. We may need to cut the box down, trim that off a little bit, just so it all sits nice and flat and covers that hole. If not, the bees will fill in the hole. But again, this one's nailed in nice and tight. Maybe a little fresh paint, call it a day. Okay, here's another one, a little bit older. It's got a weird kind of green color. A couple of really exposed nails in here, just the way they did it. They shot those through and then bent the nails up, which is fine. That shouldn't be too much of a hassle, but another good box. All right, this one's got some age to it. You can see some weathering and cracking in the wood. The joints are loosening up a little bit, but still sturdy, guys. None of these are wobbly. None of them are wiggling. None of them are loose. This one's definitely got some age to it, but a little bit of sanding should clean right up. New paint job, good to go. So here's a pretty good weathered one. This one's definitely been out in the elements. Some of these now, we might not use them as beehives. We might take some of these older ones that are just not great and set them up for a swarm trap around the property, or a couple of swarm traps, just to not waste it. This one's got a little damage right up here, but it should be fine putting another frame on top. And then this one actually has a little metal corner in here so that your frames can sit in there. Might be the worst one so far, but still really sturdy. Sand and paint. All right, spoke too soon. Here's a very old one. This one is really weathered. Looks like the frame is pretty squared off. Still not loose, not wiggling at all. It's definitely a usable frame. Definitely a dirtier frame. This one's seen more bees, so sand it down, clean it up, and give it a little paint job, and this will make a new hive as well. So this looks like a bottom board, guys. It looks like you would set them on there, and then that's their entrance in and out. Possibly, that's not a lot of room. They don't need a lot of room, but that's definitely not enough to put one of the reducers in there, so maybe they just kept this like an open frame all the time. Weathered, a little beat up, a little bowed. That side's not too bad, still pretty straight. Not super old wood, definitely got some weather on the top. Usable, we can clean it up and then use it for something. It's not the prettiest one, but usable. Same story as the rest of them, really, guys. It's in good shape. Found a couple of loose nails, it looks like. That's gonna be another working bee box. I can already tell you, based off of the lids that we have, based off of the boxes that we've got, all we're gonna be buying is frames and some bottom boards. And we've got some hives, and I can tell you that we already made our money back with what we've got here so far. Here is here's a nice fresh one. This one's gonna be definitely quite a bit newer as far as the paint goes. Looks like this is either wormwood in here, or mice got in there and got to chewing, or something got in there and got to chewing on it. Or a squirrel setup shop or something. This one has a number on it. Looks like WA 316 maybe. So Washington 316. So this probably came out of the state of Washington, neighboring state. 316th hive. I imagine that was their system. So that's a good one. Really good frame, nice handles. I like that one. Okay, this one's got a pretty good crack through the front. It goes all the way through to the inside as well. It's not loose. And, you know, the bees will seal that up on the inside, so that's not a problem. Got good handles. Pretty clean. It's a good box. The only thing that would make all of this stuff just useless is if all of these measurements were off for some reason, or if none of these hives worked out because they didn't fit standard frames. It's the only way my bubble would get burst as far as going through this. So far we're doing great. Okay, here's a couple of hive tops, which is always a good score. This one's a little bit beat up, definitely homemade. But these are kind of a little bit pricey, buying quality ones, and there's sort of a little addition. You're like, oh yeah, dang it, I forgot all my hive tops. So as you can see, that one's had some bees in it, got a little hole in the top. This one's should work as long as the dimensions are good. Should work. It's a little broke here on the front. You can see I'm wiggling it there. That snapped and broke, so we might have to just replace that one. And it fits that box perfectly, so that one works. And then same here, another homemade one. Got a hole in the top for the bees to be able to kind of go up in. And this one's pretty cool, actually. You can see the way it's all the wood sort of joined together. And then they used it, obviously, just some scrap pieces laying around the shop, but someone took the time to build it. Did a pretty good job. So beat up and old, but this is very useful because it shuts the bees off from being able to glue the lid down. So a very important piece to your hive. So it's nice to get an extra one. All right, guys, that is I guess that's the last one I'll show you, because these all seem to be just kind of the same quality. They're definitely going to get used. They're definitely going to get fixed up a little bit and refurbished, but they're going to be getting used. And there's another 8 inside there, which is at least another 4 hives. We must have really close to about 10 hives worth of bee boxes here. 2-box hive, a lower and an upper. about 10 more, I would assume, in and around, and then we'll buy some tops. We'll have to buy some bottom boards, and then buy some frames. But we should be able to clean up a few of these, sell them, make our money back, and still have a good 5-6 hives left over. All right, guys, that is it for the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Yes, we raise bees here at North Country Farm. We have existing 4 beehives that should make it through the winter, because this winter has been very mild, and even the cold February so far, we've gotten a little bit of temperature drop, but hopefully those bees put in enough resources inside their boxes that they're able to stay alive and only make it another half a month through cold weather, and we should be good and have some successful bees coming into the springtime looking for some new homes, because if they have an abundance of resources, then they will be multiplying real soon. All right, guys, that is it. Tell me what you think in the comments. Let me know what you think of my score. $125 for the lot. Something like 10 hives maybe in and around there. So that is the deal. Tell me what you think in the comments. Did I get a good deal? Did I not do good? Are these junk, or are these gonna work? You know they're gonna work. Guys, thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you on the next one.